One of the most impressive things with the Targa is their performance. At first glance, the Targas do not look like they're something that will cruise easily at 33 knots. But once you get on board and push the throttles forward, it is amazing the performance you get out of these boats. And in this video, we're going to be describing what it's like to be behind the wheel of the Targa 32 and the performance around these boats. So right now we're at 1,000 RPM, so what we should do is let's do a fast acceleration. We're going to put her to the pins right off the bat. What you're going to see is you're going to hear the supercharger and then the turbocharger kick in, and this thing is going to take off. So let's go ahead and do that now. So here we go. Throttle down, baby. 2,000 RPM, supercharger, turbocharger. All right, we are already doing 26 knots, 28 knots, 30 knots, 33 knots. Awesome acceleration. 36, we are at 37 knots already, 3,500 RPMs. The acceleration is awesome on these boats. It is just so crazy how much of a sleeper performer the Targa 32 is. You cannot imagine that a boat like this could race the center console, but it can. All right, so let's bring the boat down. We're gonna bring her down to more what I would consider normal cruising speed. What a very nice all-day comfortable cruising speed for the Targa 32. Now with the Targa, there are a lot of different engine packages that you can choose. There's the horsepower range of the D4 engines, and you can also choose the horsepower range of the D6 engines. This particular boat has the D4 320 horsepower, so the upper horsepower range of the D4 engines. And the reason why on this particular boat we chose the D4 engines is because we wanted to add in a generator for air conditioning, charge the water heater, and have a little bit more electrical componentry on this boat. But even with the D4 engines, right now I'm cruising at 3,000 RPMs. We're at 72% engine load and we're doing 31.5 knots. This is a easy all-day cruise at an 80% engine load, which is about 3,200 RPMs. You're doing 33 knots on this boat. It's unbelievable what you can do. And at this 32.6 knots, a 76% engine load right now, we're burning 21 gallons an hour. So with a full tank of fuel, that gets you 280 nautical miles of range. So that's like going from here in Portland, Maine to, I don't know, Old Saybrook, Connecticut or something like that on a single run. So your range is awesome, your performance is awesome, your noise level is amazing. So it is just an incredible ride, comfortable, smooth compared to other diesel power boats. All right, so we're gonna further throttle back here just to give you guys a little bit of a sense. You know, at 2,800 RPMs is also a very luxurious cruising speed. The engines are hardly even working. So we're doing 2830 RPMs right now, 29 knots, and a 65% engine load. We've bumped up our fuel economy to 1.6 nautical miles per gallon, so we're burning 18 gallons an hour. At 29 knots, it's hard to fuss about this speed. It's just your speed range is unbelievable. Between 22 knots and 30 knots, your fuel economy is roughly the same, between 1.5 and 1.6 nautical miles per gallon. So you really just choose how fast you want to get there, and the boat will take you there. One important thing I want to talk about is that mid-range speed. You know, once you drop below 22 knots or so, let's do 18, because sometimes 18 in low visibility is an appropriate speed to run at. Let's say you might be in medium density fog, or the sea state is such where 18 knots is going to be the right speed for the boat and for your ride comfort. So we can do that here, just throttling back now. Let's see, I think that's going to be around 2,200 RPMs. It's going to get us that 18 knot level. Yeah, so okay, we're settling in here at that 18 knot level, which is 2,200 RPMs. You know, similar engine load at 63%, but our fuel economy, we're burning 13 gallons an hour at 17.5 knots, and that gets us to 1.3 nautical miles per gallon. So your fuel economy drops after you get to below 22 knots. Certainly if you got to run at this speed, you know, it is what it is. You have no bow rise still. I've got all the horizon in front of me. I can see all lobster pots. I can dodge floating objects in the water. The visibility remains incredible at that 2200 RPMs and 18-ish knot range, which is important because sometimes you need to be running at this speed. If you drop back even further, let's say you want to run at 15 knots, that's at about 2000 RPMs, I believe. Doing 15 knots, 15 and a half knots and burning 12 gallons an hour. So that still is that 1.3 nautical mile fuel economy that you're doing at 18 knots. So again, it's more of a pick your speed, pick your comfort level, whatever works for you. The boat is still running great at this 15 knot range. Again, no bow rise. The engines aren't struggling. You are throwing up a bigger wake at this 15 knot speed, but if this is the speed that you want to go, it's perfectly comfortable and easy. For me, I really think between 22 knots and 32 knots, that's the sweetheart for this boat. So we've talked about the ideal cruising speed. We've talked about the semi-displacement speed on the boat. What we haven't talked about is wide open throttle. But before I do that, if you want to see the specific engine data, fuel burn, RPM range for this particular boat, please click the link above my head to get that data off our website. But now let's go wide open throttle. So putting the throttle down to the pins, the boat just accelerates so well, it's awesome. So we're already at 100% engine load. I'm gonna trim the drives up a little bit to about a +2 trim angle. That's just gonna get the boat a little bit more out of the water. So we're at 3590, basically 3600 RPMs on the engines. We're doing 38.8, 39 knots right now, burning 33 gallons an hour. So wide open throttle with the D4s is 39 knots. How can you be upset with that? Particularly because this boat has a lot of equipment on it. For this amount of horsepower, to be doing 39 knots, wide open throttle, it's pretty awesome. And all this straight line stuff is great. That's how you're gonna run the boat most of the time. But when you do wanna be in sport boat mode and act like a center console, this boat does awesome. So if you spin the wheel right on over, she carves and grips like crazy. It is incredible how much performance you can get. You can outdo most center consoles with how tight of S-turns you can do and the power that you can maintain in these curves. Because of these counter-rotating dual diesel propellers that are spinning, you lose virtually no speed in these turns, and you can spin circles around some of these boats. It's unbelievable what you can do with this thing. Whoa, baby. It is like carving, I feel like I'm in a GS suit and just carving through turns on a ski slope. It is amazing when you put this thing down to the edge. She grips and goes and doesn't lose speed. It is just awesome. Hope you enjoyed this performance video of the Targa 32 with the D4 engines. If you have any questions for us, please do feel free to reach out. Use the information below this video.